Deschild Show, your hour of encouraging talk and music. It's been quite a relaxing week and a beautiful one as well. I've been doing this thing called walking, and I hear it's pretty good for you. You know, exercise and all. So my dog Sly and I have been roaming the neighborhood faithfully every morning, and I'm really enjoying it, and I look forward to it every morning. I'm losing some weight, and my dog is looking pretty good too, I must say. But I found that exercise can be a great way to just de-stress, even if it's something simple, like walking your dog. I must confess I've been a little lazy lately, as my job doesn't require much activeness on my part. I teach voice on a daily basis, and I work on the radio show, I write songs, I go to church. All of those things require little motion. So to get out of the studio is really refreshing, and I encourage you to do the same. You know, get out of your house, get out of the workplace during the lunch hour, find something you love to do that gets your heart rate up a bit. I also love to dance, but I'm poor and can't afford dance lessons. So sometimes I'll put music on in my room and get my groove on a little bit, but it kind of feels a little funny. At my home church, we're supposed to join what's called a circle of friends. And since my pastor likes to abbreviate every single ministry in the church, it's really called COF. So I was fortunate enough to be chosen, along with my husband, to join our pastor's own COF. And on a monthly basis, we get together to discuss Bible-related subjects as well as pray for each other and eat a ton of really good food. And I really cherish these get-togethers, not because there's just a lot of good food, but I always feel refreshed when I leave, and I feel in a good mood and just encouraged. We just finished a in-depth study on a book called Hope Beyond Suicide that my pastor actually wrote himself. It was a really, really great read, so please check it out when you can. It's called Hope Beyond Suicide by Reverend Dr. J. Bruce Sophia. We are now studying meaningful words. So each of us chose a word, and we're required to study it and present our findings to the group when our month comes up. Well, my husband was up first, and his word was faith. And he was so nervous that night because it's a little awkward to be leading a discussion with your pastor sitting right across from you. Needless to say, when October comes around, I'll be shaking in my Ugg boots. But my husband did so well. I was really proud of him. And the word faith is not easy to explain in just a half hour. He actually used the entire hour we had. He pointed out that faith is not a feeling. You can't muster up faith. And you can't put your faith in something that can't prove itself faithful. God is worthy of our trust. God has proven himself faithful. You can see that through the entire Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. He's faithful. And unfortunately, God does give us trials in order to prove that faithfulness, in order to increase our faith in him. And I can go on and on about this word faith, but then I would wind up using our entire encouraging hour together, and I don't want to do that. So many dreams I've seen unravel. An ex-boyfriend of mine actually led me to that song by Barlow Girl when I was having a really hard time in my walk with God, which was one of the better moments in our relationship, but I won't get into that. So I helped lead worship at church this past weekend, and I always have the best time. We have a service Saturday night, as well as 2 on Sunday, so it kind of takes up the whole weekend, but I don't care. I love being around my church folk, my church peeps. And we practiced so much before our service on Saturday night, but when the first song began, it was like we never had practiced at all. And it's in these moments that you don't know whether to laugh or just cry. I prefer the laughter, personally. You know, if we take things too seriously all the time and you never have fun, you will burn out really quickly. There's a time to be serious. There's a time to laugh, obviously. But when things don't go your way, just leave it alone. Or just leave, because you're going to bring everyone else down with your attitude. Needless to say, we all took it with a grain of salt, and we never received more compliments on the worship. The audience perceives something so different than what you're feeling on the platform. So if you're in ministry, be encouraged with that. Try hard, study, practice, give it your all, don't wing it, but don't get upset if it's not 100% perfect. And you know what? The congregation wants to see you get into the worship, not get mad at it. So that's my little spiel on that. So, on a much, much, much lighter note, I wanted to share something with just the ladies. And the guys can obviously listen too. But I am such a texter. And no, that's not what I wanted to share, so just hang on. I love to text back and forth with anybody. And getting a bunch of texts during my day just brightens my day. Especially when I haven't looked at my phone in a while. I love seeing the texts, the Twitter activity, Instagram, emails, etc. I actually feel loved when that happens. And when there's not a lot of activity, it can actually bring me down. When that happens, I'm actually known to say out loud, "Nobody loves me," which I know isn't true, obviously, but I find this to be true with a lot of women. Not so much with other women when you're texting another girl, but another guy, like a male friend or even your husband, and they don't text you back for hours or even a day. We women tend to get really, really upset about that. And for a while, I was getting upset that the men in my life would wait for hours, if not a full day, to text me back. This includes my own husband. Then in a woman's mind, we're thinking, he's mad at me, or he doesn't like me, or he thinks I'm annoying, etc. And it drives us so crazy that we text more. Then we get mad, and when we see him, we blow up. Because we're thinking, why didn't you text me? What's going on? And as you can see, this is a problem. So to find out why men don't text back us women right away or at all, I went right to the source. I went to Facebook. So I posted a survey on my page asking men to message me their response to this question because I didn't want any other woman to see it. And their answers may surprise you, but hopefully help you next time you decide to get angry with another man, particularly your husband, for not texting you back in 5 seconds. But you know what? Thankfully, God always hears us. He always answers us, not always in our timing, but he is faithful. Blue skies turn to gray. Now we're talking about why men don't text back right away. And this is a subject I really wanted to get into because we women tend to get mad at the male people in our lives because they don't text us back right away. I find that women are relationship driven and guys are more, they're on a conquest, you know? They're on a mission and they don't want to be distracted by anything. I posted a survey to Facebook asking you men why you don't text back right away so you can ease the mind of us ladies. So these are the responses I got. From David, "The Lord knows I have often opened my mouth before thinking. Sometimes this is the case. I need to process a response I know you deserve. Seems simple, but sometimes I don't realize a response is needed. Some days I just don't have my phone on me all the time, as unbelievable as it seems." Great response, David. Rob, "Usually it's 'cause I'm at work and can't respond until later. Or my awesome phone has such great service that I get a message, or the person I text gets the message an hour or two later. Otherwise, I'm usually pretty good at texting back quickly." I was so surprised by all the responses I got from men saying that they respond quickly through text messaging. So I said that they were the rarity, which is true. From Bill, he says, "Because I don't feel like having a conversation, or I'm busy, or I'm sleeping." A guy needs his rest. He's on his conquest. Brian says, "Sometimes when we men get out of work and get home, our minds are still stuck on work or what happened at work. We forget to look at our phones and we fall asleep from a long day at work. Don't get me wrong, it's always best to hear the voice of that person you love, the one that brings you back to that moment. But when we have a rough day, we get home and sometimes just fall asleep on the sofa. So again, it's about sleep. Or we tend to play games on our phones and then drain the battery and forget to charge our phone when we get home. Some great excuses, guys. Now, the best was this. Listen up, girls. Cody says, because it's a form of communication. Like I said, girls love to communicate. We love relationships, and guys are just not that way. They rather see us face to face and have that certain time set apart just for us. They like to put things in boxes. They can't multitask like us ladies. Cody goes on to say, if I don't respond right away, it's because I need time to think about my response, or I'm busy. So that was a very popular answer. And he goes on to say, maybe because I'm going to see that person in 10 minutes, and there are intricacies to that answer that cannot be summed up in a 3-word response. That's a great answer. And then he ends with this. Physically, men have bigger fingers, so autocorrect kicks in and it's a pain in the butt. So these are great responses, great excuses. Thanks, guys, for all of you who messaged me and gave me your answers. Thank you so much for participating. Each day is blowing by. That was Come to Me by Bethel Music. And what a great reminder to come to God. You know, instead of reaching for your phone, calling your girlfriend, calling your husband, go to God. You know, call on him. Text him if you would. He's waiting to hear from you, and he loves to respond to you. And he's written the Bible as a love story to you. He wants to speak into your life. He wants to fill you, to satisfy you in ways that other relationships just can't. And I'm not saying those relationships are bad, but they're not as important as the one you're going to have with Jesus Christ. If you want to call me with a prayer request or how the show has encouraged you, please call me 856-244-1503, or feel free to hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Des Childs, DEZCHILDS. God bless and have a great week.
Why do I breathe for the warmth of the sun?